أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين آمين قل هو الله أحد الله الصمد لم يلد ولم يولد ولم يكن له كفوا أحد. This is the Black Pot, aka Kukushunum, where we speak truth to power. Blessed is the man that worketh not in the counsel of the heathen, and sitteth in the seat that is can't fall. But his delight is in the law of the Lord, and in this law I say, I dated sunrise and sundown. Him I go day like a tree planted by the rivers of water that bringeth fat fruit in his season. Him leave never I go wither, and whatsoever him do shall prosper. Yea, the heathen them now they saw them there like a chaff, which the wind driveth away. Therefore the heathen them never go turn upon judgment of the sin among them in the congregation of the righteous, for the Lord God Jah. Never the way of the righteous and the way of the sin among them always and always. I will perish. Let the people of the Most High God say, Jah! Kadama we groma bea tela exact beer tanaistalin abashante shante 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 kadama we groma bea tela where twos and threes meet in the name of the Most High Jah. At the so Jaja de. If Jaja never build up your house, the builder I go build it in the same way. If Jaja never watch upon them same house we built for you, the watchman I go watch it in vain. The name of the Lord is a strong tower, and the righteous run into it and them is saved. Many are the afflictions to the righteous, but Jah shall deliver him from all of them. This is the Black Pot, aka Kukushunamo, where we speak truth to power. And my name, Black Rasta. Now in every traditional African home there is a black pot, and each time this black pot rests on the fire there is something sumptuous cooking. Yes, very sumptuous cooking. Yes, ingredients of so many different colors, sizes, shapes, taste, smells, and even aromas come together, putting away all their differences to be able to produce one homogeneous product known as food for your nourishment, for my nourishment. Now the black pot represents the continent of Africa, and the ingredients in the black pot represent us. We must put away all differences and come together to produce that one homogeneous product known as development for the betterment of our people, our continent, our land. This is the Black Pot, aka Kukushunamo, and here we normally don't criticize, but if we must criticize, we would only just criticize to build and not to destroy. This is the show you've been waiting for. We are live on Pan-African TV, and of course, on Pan-African TV, via satellite, we are seen all over the continent of Africa. Pick up our numbers on the screen. This is where you must be doing business in. You know that, right? Pick up our numbers on the screen. Apart from doing business with us and getting your business seen all over the continent of Africa and beyond, you are also empowering us to be able to rewire the thinking of our people via Pan-Africanism. This is the Black Pot, aka Kukushunamo. We are also loud on Ghana Web TV and also on our own TV, Black Empire TV. My name, Black Rasta, and let's begin the action. Number one, look what we have for starters. Freedom of speech caged in dirty political cooler. How many people know Anas Armiyao Anas? He always has that thing. Yes, Tiger Eye PI is his outfit. This is Anas Armiyao Anas. He is a renowned journalist. In fact, when Obama came into this country, he talked about him and gave him a lot of accolades. Via his work, we have seen so many people in jail and some other people punished. His mantra is name and shame the bad guys. This is Anas Armiyahu Anas. He normally will keep his identity under wraps because of what he does. Now, if he opens up and people get to know exactly who he is, bad people might try to gun him down, just like they did to one of his Tiger IPI, journalists. It's not a crime to be a journalist. We all remember when Ahmed Swale, a member of the Tiger IPI investigative team, was gunned down in broad daylight. All because one man who now wants to be president, Kennedy Japan, came on radio and on TV and shouted that people should look for him. And anytime they saw him around his vicinity, that's at a radio station, the premises of the TV station, they should beat him very hard and that he will pay. Well, it looked like people heard him, followed him, but this time around, not around his vicinity, killed him in traffic. From that time till now, nothing has happened. Ahmed Swale left behind 2 wives and children. As it stands right now, Kennedy Japan is walking free. He has answered to nothing concerning the death of Ahmed Swale. Well, we had the police people invite him over. He went there and spoke, and we don't know what is happening right now. At a point, he said he even knew the killer and brought some photos out. But it came out that the so-called killer said, "Why are you disgracing me like this? I've never killed an ant, let alone a human being." From that time, the matter went damper. This is Anas Armiyahu Anas. Yes, with his beats. He just used to have something around him. Now it is beats. Look at it. Galamsey economy. Anas Armiyahu Anas wrote to the government of Ghana asking for permission to show this. And you can see it, Accra National Conference Center, 14th and 15th, 2 days. They asked him to pay some money. He paid all the money. They asked him to do A, he did A, do B, he did B, do C, and he did C. All of a sudden, they wrote to him and told him that he couldn't show his expose. Maybe because they knew or they had heard that some politicians' heads must roll right after this documentary. And Anas Armiyahu Anas wrote this. Come along, let's have a look at it. Anas Armiyahu Anas wrote this to the general public, talking about how he had paid all the money they demanded. But the Accra International Conference Center decided not to give him the space to air his expose, or better still, his documentary, investigative piece. Now, as if it was a joke, something bigger happened. When all these things were being peddled around, diplomats invited to come and watch this, because Anas has most of the time shown his documentaries at this same place. My brother, my sister, this time around, they said no. And what happened? Boom! They also wrote back. And you can see the national symbol up there. And the minister wrote that no. In fact, it was actually a mistake. We were just trying to put 1 and 1 together so we could call that 2. We didn't really want you to go away. Please still come back. Barely 48 hours before showing the expose, all of a sudden, the International Conference Center, of course, right here in Accra, decided that Anas should not come. And when Anas made it public, boom, they called him back to come and show it. My brother, my sister, and Anas agreed. Watch this. The matter has been resolved. Galamsey documentary will take place at AICC. And that's the management. Now, the management of the Accra International Conference Center, AICC, has said that the showing of the Galamsey economy documentary by Tiger IPI, headed by ace investigative journalist Anas Armiyahu Anas, will come off at the center as scheduled. The management said the matter, which resulted in a rescheduling of the venue, has been resolved. Our attention has been drawn to reports that an advertised event due to take place at the Accra International Conference Center, AICC, by Tiger IPI was being moved from our venue. The initial confusion, and watch this, the initial confusion was due to a scheduling conflict at the level of the AICC staff. and not in any way a political decision as it's been speculated. The matter has been resolved. We have made contact with the organizers, and the event is expected to come off as scheduled. My brother, this is shameful. Tiger IPI earlier said in a series of tweets on Sunday, November 13, that it is sudden that barely 48 hours to the public screenings, when invitations have been sent to the diplomatic community and other high-profile individuals in society, and flyers sent out to the public, we have had to look for a new venue. We would like to apologize to the public for the inconvenience in change of venue. Our agent is securing another auditorium and will update the public soon on the new venue. Tiger IPI. Now bring back that little piece where the people, the Accra International Conference Center is trying to explain. Not this one. In that story we just part, that little bit, I think the second slide. Yes, that's it. The initial confusion was due to a scheduling conflict at the level of the AICC staff and not in any way a political decision as is being speculated. This is a joke. If you have a scheduling issue, why do you not let the organizers know that, oh, there's a scheduling issue, and could you move your thing forward or back? You agreed on the time and everything. The people paid their money. Everything was done. Then all of a sudden you have a scheduling conflict. Scheduling conflict. What is this about? It means you are incompetent. It means you are all square pegs in round holes. And if you want to turn it upside down to, you are all round holes in square pegs. What is this? The man approached you, told you the time he wanted to run the screenings. You agreed. You charged him. He paid the damage. And all of a sudden, 48 hours to the screenings, you decided that you had a scheduling conflict. What a joke. My brother, my sister. Now, because of Anas's expose, some heads have already started rolling. But in the interim, I want to make this very clear. Dash it away. Anas Armeyao Anas has in the past been criticized by many people. One of them is Paul Adumochri. Number two, the biggest critic of Anas Armeyao Anas is Kennedy Japan, who even went ahead to show some photos of a supposed Anas to the public. He also went ahead to show the photos of Ahmed Swali and asked the general public to look out for that. In no time, they actually looked out for him, shot him, and killed him in broad daylight. My brother, my sister, nothing has happened in terms of punishment from that time. Nothing, absolutely. Now, Anas Armeyao Anas covers his face. Because if a colleague of his can be gunned down like this, then anything could happen to him. He names and shames the big guys. He names and shames the bad guys. The big bad guys. In the past, Nyantechi fell victim. And now, another guy has fallen victim. A big shot. As it stands, Anas Armeyao Anas is trusted by so many people in this country more than they trust the police. Many people trust Anas's work more than they even trust the organizations that are supposed to be doing this. One individual. Yet the bad guys are always on the look to blocking him. My brother, my sister, to Anas, I want to hail you up. I know Anas. I've met Anas a number of times. I know what he looks like. And I always encourage him to do more. Anas Armeyao Anas, if he was a bad guy, Father, I pray that you give us more bad guys like Anas. Anas is not an angel. Anas makes mistakes. But his good works overshadow by far his so-called mistakes. He's a journalist. He could get some facts wrong. He's a journalist. He could outstep his boundaries. But the work he's doing by shaming these bad guys that he names is enough. Freedom of speech caged in dirty political cooler. That was what they attempted to do. But to God be the glory. Anas Armiyaw Anas had his way. He's had the venue again to do his work. When we return, we will look at how these investigations are making heads roll in the interim. Come! Number 2. What is the second issue? Watch it. Bad cop cools off in the cooler in place of criminal. Today, it looks like it's all about cooler. You remember a few weeks back, we talked about a bad cop who took bribe from a British criminal who he was supposed to be taking to the cooler at Nsawam, but decided to take some money from him. And he even went ahead to live with this British criminal. The British criminal was feeding him and even promised to take him abroad. Now the British criminal traveled out of the country with the promise that he would arrange for him to also join him there. The cop has finally been given justice. Police officer jailed 12 years for assisting ex-convict escape jail term in a swap for trip abroad. Swap for trip abroad. This was after Detective Lance Corporal Kwame Edu Asabre was found guilty by the court at the end of the trial. The officer was said to have allowed himself to be corrupted by Johnson, an ex-convict, to assist him to travel abroad and escape serving his jail term. He was charged with forgery of official document, abetment of crime, and corruption by a public officer. My God. Look at it. Watch this. Mr. Johnson was then put before the court presided over by Na Ajele Kwesi. He pleaded guilty to the charge and was sentenced to 3 years imprisonment. That's Mr. Johnson. He pleaded guilty and was supposed to be taken to jail for 3 years. The prosecution said the convict was handed over to Asabre, the case officer, to be sent to Nsawam medium prison. Surprisingly, the prosecution said Asabre failed to send Mr. Johnson to Nsawam and sent him to that's Asabre's house at Sapema, where he stayed for some time. The facts of the prosecution, led by Assistant Superintendent of Police Emmanuel Nyamiche, before the court presided over by Mrs. Patricia Amponsa, are that Officer Asabre was a police officer stationed at the Criminal Investigations Department, CID, of the Ghana Police Service. The prosecution said in 2019, 3 years ago, a case of defrauding by false pretenses involving Harold Davis Johnson, aka Emmanuel Snowden, a British national, reported by Dr. Shadrach Asabre, was referred to Asabre for investigations. It said after investigations, Officer Asabre was instructed to charge and arraign Johnson on the charge of defrauding by false pretenses. The prosecution said investigations also showed that Mr. Johnson promised to assist Asabre to travel abroad, and based on that, Asabre released Johnson's passport to him. The convict then traveled to the United Kingdom without serving his sentence. The prosecution said Officer Asabre forged the police removal of prisoner book to suggest that Johnson had been sent and received by prison authorities at Nsawam. The prosecution said when Officer Asabre was nabbed, he admitted the offense. Bring the headline again. Police officer jailed 12 years. This man was supposed to go in for how many years? 3. Now in his place, this guy is going for 4 times that, 12 years. It's good that the police officer is being punished. Why did they leave a prisoner to only 1 police officer? Number 2, when you read the story, the police officer was supposed to carry Johnson, Davis Johnson, aka Emmanuel Snowden, all the way to the Nsawam prison on his own. So he hired a taxi. What kind of a primitive country is this? There's a criminal, convicted criminal, British national. He's supposed to be taken to where? In some medium prisons. Then you bring the officer and say, take him there. No prison van. He hails a taxi. The taxi comes. Oh, I'm taking this guy to Insawan prison. On the way, according to Asabre, he fell asleep. And the prisoner escaped. But it came out that he actually drove this prisoner all the way to his house and cooked some sumptuous food for him to eat. Because the prisoner or the convict told him he would help him to travel abroad. And looking at Ghana police, bad salary, bad conditions of service, he agreed. Hey, dash this away and follow me. Come. You see, let us not be so much in a hurry to say, bad cop, he has been jailed. Hooray. No. There are lessons to be learned. Anytime there is a convicted criminal, who takes this criminal to the prison? How is the prisoner taken there? Who takes the prisoner in? In this case, it was a taxi. Anything could have happened to the taxi. Number two, what is this officer's background record? Did they check all that before they put him in? Thirdly, what's the salary of this officer? When you are putting people in charge of things like this, number one, check their level of patriotism. In a country where patriotism is never preached, it's all about going to heaven, dying and going to heaven. It's all about sleeping and waiting for the grace to be rich without working. In this country, nobody preaches patriotism. What is the salary of this policeman Asabre? What is his level of patriotism? Who are his superiors? Who trained him at the police school? What is his record? What are his weaknesses? Do we have records on this? My brother, we don't have that. So this guy looks at his salary. He looks at such a pathetic country and decides that England is a better country he would leave. And ignorantly, he believes that when he gets to England, he could join the police there. Boom. Again, did we take the fingerprints of this Davis guy? Could they not have told at the airport that this was a guy who was convicted? Even if he showed documents that he had been freed, could they not have made simple calls? When you arrive in England, they set you like a common criminal. When you are traveling from any part of Africa to America, when you arrive, the airport is the place that takes all your time. They will set you and set your dead grandfather, set you and set your dead great-grandmother, strip her naked and find out what she last ate before she died. But in our country, they just look at your face and it's enough. What kind of a primitive country is this? Now this bad cop is teaching us lessons. In a country where people only become police people in default because they have no other job. Hi, the last research that was done, about 98% of all the police recruits had gone in there because they had no other job. So they were by force police. Such people, how can they be loyal to the service? The service that is fraught with so much bribery and corruption that a lot of people don't respect. Hey, it's time for us to bring some kind of respect to the police service. I love the police. I keep saying, Inspector Audu Kankani, my grandfather was a good policeman. When he was retiring, the Gold Coast police was begging for him to stay a little longer. A lot of people in my family, police. So when I see police, I see angels. But in our country, we have demeaned the police to a certain point that police are seen as demons. Police, please put value on yourself. If you are on duty with a policeman who takes bribe and you keep quiet and say you are not the one taking the bribe, you are as worse as that policeman. Expose this policeman. Expose that policeman. Even if you are sacked, you have done your work. And if you are the type that stands on the road and takes bribe, think about your nation. How much money would you get from that? Is it going to take you to heaven? Or you don't care about heaven? Is it going to be able to build you a house? What is a house? Hey, my brother, my sister, we don't preach patriotism in this country. That is why we are where we are. When we return, we shall talk some more. I'm going to pay Asabre a visit in prison. I will talk to him. If I'm given the opportunity, I'll record him in an interview and play back. In the interim, this is the Black Pot, aka Kukushunamo, where we speak truth to power. I have a quote on the bad cop. Hey! This is the Black Pot, aka Kukushunamo, where we speak truth to power. And my name, Blakk RASTA. Next thing. And what does it say? Azumah Nelson defrauded. Oh my God. Azumah Nelson has been defrauded. Zoom zoom. It's like father and son. If the son misbehaves, the father check him. The father got to check him. Oh man, I'm bad, baby, I'm bad. This guy entertained us. Now he's old. My brother, my sister, some years back, he fought a man called Defrauded. Now the first fight ended in a draw. In fact, the moment it ended in a draw, Fennec from Australia came out. Hey, he knew he had won the fight. He had been cheated. Why you cheat me like that? Blah, 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 blah. And that they should wear the gloves and come back and fight again and see who would win. Well, a number of people said Fennec had won the fight. But it had been scored a draw. And therefore, there was supposed to be a rematch. And with this rematch, Azumah Nelson said, I will follow him to his backyard in Melbourne, Australia. I will beat him in front of his own crowd. Many Ghanaians said, don't do that, they will cheat you. Azumah Nelson said, no, I will go. He went. And in front of a teeming crowd, including their political leaders, Azumah Nelson beat this guy to pulp. He beat him until he saluted Azumah Nelson. How many of you watched that fight? I don't like boxing. Boxing is barbaric. Boxing is an animalistic game which is just for people to beat each other, hurt each other whilst there's a doctor standing by to take care of the sick. Foolishness. Does it make sense? There's a doctor. There are people dying in the hospital that need a doctor, naturally because of sicknesses. Then you come and inflict sicknesses on yourself, injuries on yourself, for that doctor to abandon those in the hospital to come and look at you idiots. I've been advocating seriously for the demise of boxing. What kind of a world is this? There are people who are hungry and they need food to eat. No, you deny them the food and take it to people who intentionally beat each other so they will get hungry and then eat the food there. And there are people who are happy, clapping, sadists. Happy that, hey, this one, his blows are thick, that one can duck, and they call it a sport. Where is the world going? Where are our brains? Now look, hear me now, hear me. Hey. Now the only intent of boxing is to inflict pain. Who can take pain more? Who can make another person shed blood? Barbaric world. In America that claims to be civilized is encouraging this foolishness. England is encouraging this foolishness. And because we are all puppets of these fools, my brother, my sister, we are following the game of football. I beg your pardon, boxing. What is the purpose of boxing? To hit each other. You start fighting without a cause. To see who is stronger than the other. Who can hit the other more. Anyway, let me not digress. So Azumah Nelson beat this guy in the second fight. He beat him and he got his belt and went away. My brother, my sister, after that, this guy has been so bitter. Fennec has never been able to sleep because of the first fight. He doesn't care about the second one, but he wants to say that he beat Azumah in the first one. So he invited Azumah in his old age. Azumah, very old. Fennec still followed him to Ghana and begged him to come over to Australia so that they will have what is known as exhibition bout. You know what exhibition bout is? It is not for any bells. It is just for fun. And Azumah Nelson, maybe broke at that time, also decided to follow this bitter guy. Went all the way to Australia where they fought. In fact, the authorities in Australia even refused. They said they were too old to fight. But they bent the rules and allowed them to go and fight fewer rounds. Well, they said he had won and he was happy. Why am I saying Azumah Nelson defrauded? Defrauded, number one. After he fought, Fennec said he was going to pay him some amount of money that he would use to build a certain beautiful boxing gym and whatever in Ghana. That money was never given to Azumah Nelson. So he went and fought for nothing. So already he's so angry, annoyed. He thought that Fennec would be a very good sportsman and lose honorably. But Fennec, deep in his heart, was so bitter. Even if he would beat Azumah a day before Azumah dies, he will follow him to Ghana and beat him. That's how bitter this guy is, Fennec. He didn't give Azumah the money. Yesterday I spoke with the PR of Azumah Nelson, and he told me, Azumah is not on good terms with this guy. After the exhibition fight, no money was paid Azumah. Azumah has called and called and called. Now this guy is avoiding his calls. All of a sudden this. What happened? Hey, now we read from last week. Dash away this. Dash it away. Last week, we were told that fight, the first fight, Azumah Fennec won. The WBC, that World Boxing whatever, had come and said that, oh, in fact, they watched that fight again after how many years? After how many years? Do you know when that thing was done? They had come back after over 10 years and over to say that they had watched the thing and that Fennec actually won the fight. And for that matter, they had scored it as a loss in Azumah's ratings or records and scored it as a win in Fennec's records. Now that they've retired and they don't need it anymore, Azumah has recorded one more loss and Fennec has recorded one more win. And Azumah Nelson is angry. That's the second one. Defrauded twice. What is Azumah Nelson saying? Watch it. You are setting a bad precedent, Azumah Nelson tells WBC over new decision on Fennec fight. Come! 2004 Boxing of Hall of Fame inductee and WBC's greatest super featherweight champion of all time, Azumah Nelson, has observed with concern reactions online regarding WBC's decision to reverse the results of his first fight against Australian Jeff Fennec in Las Vegas on June 28, 1991. How many of you were born in 1991? I was born in 1974. I watched that fight live. I remember clearly. Azumah added, I rather find it a bit disturbing for the WBC, as this will open the doors for many boxers to petition them over fights they disagreed with judges' decisions many years ago over. The WBC doesn't need that pressure, as this doesn't add any value to our beloved sport. Well, I don't know if it's a beloved sport or not. This has the proclivity to create credibility issues for the sport if not managed properly. In the WBC, yes, wants to introduce a review panel or video assistant referee as done in football. I would think they will start with the current generation, who will then have the opportunity to fight again, or belt returned to the right winner and to be contested for. The decision by the WBC means I went to Australia in 1992 as a challenger and not the champion going to defend his title. This is very interesting. Of course it is interesting. It's robbery, and they decided to start with black people, Africans. Azumah, reacting to the news, said, reviewing results and awarding titles to boxers many decades after the fight is a dangerous precedent. This is happening for the first time in professional boxing. And they decided to start with me. I am not worried about the decision, as it doesn't change my legacy in boxing history. Neither would it change anything going forward. If this will help Jeff Fenech to sleep well at night, I am happy for him. I like that last one. If this will help Jeff Fenech sleep well at night, I am happy for him. So you see what I was telling you? Azumah is not happy with Jeff. He's realized that this guy is a bitter rival. He has been chasing him all this while just because he beat him twice. The draw decision by the judges was argued by Jeff Fenech and his team, which led to Azumah granting him a rematch in his homeland the following year, 1992. Azumah didn't leave any doubts in the minds of boxing fans after the humiliation he handed Jeff Fenech before his fellow countrymen. These are images of Jeff Fenech being handed a fourth belt by the WBC. Okay, there are images of Jeff Fenech being handed a fourth belt by the WBC at the recent convention, explaining that a new panel of judges reviewed the fight and concluded that Jeff Fenech won the fight. While the decision doesn't bother Azumah Nelson, he's however worried about the dangerous part the WBC is treading. Dash it away. It's a very big disgrace to WBC. World Buffoonery Council. It is a very terrible thing. Now, listen, I don't support boxing. I used to. And I know too much about boxing. I can unroll boxing history right now. You'll be shocked. But I'm a repentant boxing fan. After I got conscious and I realized that it's nothing but a foolish sport. It's a vandal sport. A sport that is only meant to destroy, never to build. My brother, watch boxers when they finish, one eye becomes as big as a tennis ball. We have seen people have blood run from their ears. We have seen people even killed in the boxing ring. I still remember the fight of Chris Eubank that ended in someone permanently destroyed. I do. Listen. Video assistant referee has just been introduced. So imagine we go back to some of the games. For instance, the one that Ghana and Uruguay played. And all of a sudden, they say, oh, whatever happened, they should have awarded Ghana. They go, what are you going to do? You're going to bring Uruguay and Ghana together again? The same players, are they going to be strong again? This might not be a very good example. But Azumah Nelson has been cheated. It's going to make him more popular and famous in the interim. Sports is a dirty game. I'm talking about boxing. Boxing is a dirty sport and must be banned. Hey! Wayo! This is the Blakk Pot, aka Kukushunum, where we speak truth to power. And my name, Blakk RASTA. Remember to take our numbers scrolling on the screen right now and call us. Give us a WhatsApp message. We are ready to do business with you. The more you do business with us, the more your business prospers, and the more we also prosper, because it gives us the opportunity to be able to do more. This is the Blakk Pot, aka Kukushunum, where we speak truth to power. And my name, Blakk RASTA. Next thing. What does it say? Watch it. Crucial legal focus lights on AMA governor. Crucial legal focus lights on AMA governor. Look at this lady. She's exposed her chest as if to say, yo, I got it. I got what you like. My melons are ripe, ready for your knife. Look at her. She has things in her nose. You know, she has a pretty face. Even though she's well clothed right now, you can still see the melons that she was trying to expose earlier. Oh, here she is. I don't know what she's doing there, but maybe she's doing what you think she's doing. Well, that's her with tattoos. AMA governor is an advocate of LGBTQI+. Lesbianism, homosexuality, queer, and so on and so forth. AMA governor, at the same time, is a YouTuber. All of a sudden, she wants to exhibit her academic brain. She's been able to go through the law course, and now she's supposed to be called to the bar. She's qualified, but watch it. And this is from My Joy Online. Ghanaian YouTubers called to the bar on hold for lack of good character. Hallelujah. Watch it. Ghanaian YouTuber Elom Abebio, popularly known as AMA governor, will not be called to the Ghana bar on Friday when her colleagues formally joined the profession. And true, Friday they went there, a number of them wearing the cut hair, disgraceful cut hair, and disgraceful whatever they were, standing there thinking that they are so academic. It's a disgrace. Colonial legacy they carry at a time that we all say we must domesticate. All these guys wearing that thing, standing there, being clapped for. I mean, doesn't make sense. How would you have looked if you had worn African print? GTP. If you want something to wrap around your hair, wear a turban. You go and wear horse tail or zip cut hair around your head. It's a shameful thing. Anyway, let's read it. This is despite her successful completion of the professional law program that saw her pass her exam and scale the interview session as well. She was due to be called on Friday, but received a letter from the secretary to the General Legal Counsel informing her of the decision. A complaint is said to have been received from a concerned citizen, alleging that she lacks good character. Hallelujah. A video recording of her YouTube content said to show her allegedly engaged in conduct unbecoming of an application to be called to the bar has been attached to the complaint. Joy News sources say the General Legal Counsel has constituted a 3-member committee to investigate the complaint. Her call to the bar has meanwhile been put on hold pending the outcome of the investigation. The development has set Twitter talking amid condemnation by many regarding the decision of the General Legal Counsel. This is Moses Fuamoni. Dash it away. Come. Listen. I see so many people talk. Is it because she's in support of the LGBTQI plus minus Y on the axis of X is equal to 0 or what? What really is it? Listen, my brother. There's a serious moral decadence in this country. Morality is important. My brother, my sister, no profession wants to see its members misbehaving. Hey! People have professional conduct. And by the professional conduct we are talking about, you must behave yourself well. You can't say because you are a soldier and you are on holiday, so you go out there and engage in pornography, which is circulating all over the place, and you are gyrating your waist and showing how powerful you are waist-wise. You cannot say that you are a nurse. Remember the nurses who were twerking. Twerk, 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 twerk. What happened to them? Professional misconduct. Your personal life must not portray your profession negative. If you want to be a slay queen, contact the slay queens for training. If you are a lawyer, there's a code of conduct. Hear me now. Listen. LGBTQI plus minus Y equal to 0, blah, blah, blah. My brother, hear me now. In this country, it is illegal. If you want to be a lawyer and join a profession that is supposed to uphold the law, you don't have to be seen breaking the law before you get in there. Am I right? For instance, I am a conscious Rastafari, Rastafari. I want to be a lawyer. If I'm able to scale all these processes with my long locks and my long beard, and with the grace inside my beard and all that, and then they realize that I am the guy standing in public there blowing in Ntampe. Say, yeah, Ntampe is good, you know. Yeah, Ntampe. Hey, champion. And all that. My brother, am I not breaking the law before I get in there? Should I be considered? Because my father is God. Or my father is Haile Selassie. Let us face the truth. I want to see I'm a governor in there. It's because of this moral decadence. That's why we have stupid leaders leading us all over Africa. It's because of this dirty moral decadence. That shamelessness all over the place. That is why we have people stealing without mercy. They are not even ashamed of their stealing. Moral decadence is not all about walking naked on the street. Stealing is moral decadence. Right? My brother, let's be serious. We are not looking for the numbers. We are looking for quality. If I'm a governor, does not go in there. Hey, I don't care if you want to go in there and support LGBTQ, RRBC, minus negative Y is equal to 0. It's on to you. Do you understand? I travel to countries where I meet with LGBTQ. I have my own thing in my mind. I have said this several times. I will not chase a lesbian, beat up a lesbian or a homosexual. Some time ago, I will not even embrace you. But now I will. Lesbian, if I meet you, I'll sit with you and eat. Hey, my master, Yahshua HaMashiach, drew the sinners close to him. And when the Pharisees started, hey, what did he tell them? He said, I am like the doctor. I came for the sick, not for the healthy. Move your clot. get it? Not to say that anybody's a sinner and we will not moralize it over them. But if you think somebody is doing something bad, I think that you draw them close to you. Like the Prophet of Islam said, let your body be a mirror for them. When they look in there and see that, hey, they will follow you. A lot of people joined Islam not because of knife and slaughtering and blood, but because of the conduct of Muslims and the Prophet of Islam. How many people agree with me? Hey, there's one man who is seriously fighting against LGBTQI. Y is equal to 0, all equals to X minus 2, divided by the, the pedigree of a square root of 0. Watch him. I know some people by now are trying to calculate all that I said. Maths and science quiz has turned us into mad people. There are some people, they see that when they are 6 is equal to 0 minus square root, then you see that they are doing their fingers like, oh, 42. And I'm like, ish, they didn't teach me this in school. What kind of school did I go to? Little children. 48 minus 2, all the square root is minus 12. Y is equal to 0 minus X minus plus 22000, all minus 6, all 42. God for him. I said, like, Jesus. What kind of schools are those? Yeah, I went to Saito. They didn't teach me this. We were using counters. Ma ubayere menu na ubami beji bakon ebe kasen I'm a governor saga. I support GLC 100%. Moses for many. But you see, I love Moses. By Ghanaian standards, Moses is supposed to be seen as somebody living with a disability or a physically challenged person, because albinos are normally seen as such. You see? Now, why am I bringing this? Somebody wouldn't understand. You see, albinos and then the LGBTQI plus family, they are supposed to be seen as an endangered species. When you go to Tanzania and you have the color of this man, quickly they will catch you and slaughter you. Quickly. And when they slaughter you, they will remove your private part and use it to catch fish. That's what they do in Tanzania. I have made songs against this. It's sad. Sometimes they will scoop your eyes, scout your eyes, and use that to catch fish. They believe. Bring the photo of Moses Fuamoni again. I love this man. He's a lawyer. He's called Moses Fuamoni. He's Sarkodie's in law. Recently, he came out to support Sarkodie fully. So when the human rights people are fighting for albinos and LGBTQI, and there's an albino who is also fighting LGBT, it looks like there's an internal wrangling. You see the mix. But this man makes some sense. You know why he's making some sense? Watch this. Lawyer for Moses for Ameni, Executive Secretary of the National Coalition for Proper Human Sexual Rights and Family Values, has said that he is in full support of the General Legal Council's decision to put on hold the call to the bar of YouTuber Elom Ebebio, aka Ama Governor. According to him, one does not become a lawyer just because she has passed an examination, but also because the person is of good character, as stated in the 1992 Constitution of Ghana. In a NEAT FM interview monitored by Ghana, wherefore Amoni intimated that calling Ama Governor to the bar means that the council would be condoning her LGBTQI plus preferences, which she has wildly professed, contrary to the laws of the country. In Ghana, if you take a look at Act 32, to be called a lawyer, it is not just that you have passed your exam, you must be of a said good character. We know that in Ghana, it is not good behavior for persons of the same sex to have sexual intercourse and for them to even marry. So if you are engaged in such an activity, we know you are not of good character. So we can't be called to you can't be called to the Ghana bar. He said in Tree. Fuamini also warned that Ghana had to be careful because proponents of LGBTQI plus activities are trying very hard to indoctrinate their values in the country. Dash it away. Dash it. Dash it. That's what he said. I think that's the same thing that I said. The only thing is that when you travel abroad, it's okay. They do it and they are cool. They are gays and lesbians and they are building factories and they have better moral rights. Gays in America behave better than some Malams in Ghana. Gays and lesbians in the UK, they behave better than some pastors and prophets in Ghana. So I sit back and I'm like, oh, okay. So what's the relationship between homosexuality and morality? I'm still researching. My brother, the last time I read about LGBTQI minus, it started by being frowned upon. Then it came out that, oh, those who were engaged in it were actually mentally imbalanced. So if somebody is mentally imbalanced, it's just recently in the West that they took it out of the mental list. So if somebody is mentally imbalanced and you decide to chase the person and kill the person because of activities they are engaged in, who is the sick one? If somebody is mentally imbalanced, where do you take the person to? The jailhouse or the hospital? So that means Fuamoni doesn't believe that it is a mental thing, as has been proposed by even our chief psychiatrist in Ghana, Dr. Akwesi, something, I've forgotten the other name. He says that it's a mental issue. And if we are going to listen to him because he is our boss, then, Bocho, I don't know. Watch this. Champion Santana. It's a radio presenter. I support LGBTQI plus advocates. Abeku Santana, famous media personality. I'm now speaking like Songo. You know Songo? Famous media personality Abeku Santana has revealed that he subscribes to the opinions of lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, queer, intersex life, LGBTQI plus sexual activities. Because I am the free hoko. Free hoko. That's how Songo would say. But you see, I know Abeku Santana. He's not one of those. I know. So if he's speaking like this, it means that he believes in what he's talking about. He's traveled around. Maybe he's also frustrated like a lot of Ghanaians. So frustrated to the point that we are fighting some things. Yes, some people are doing it and they are moving ahead. Maybe he's also frustrated to the point, I travel to the land of gays and everything is okay. We even go to them to borrow money. I travel to the land of gays and I see that, everything is cool. Their laws are working. They are not stealing from their nation. They are doing everything cool. I think it would be better for our country to be a gay country and be okay and run the country good than to be a very religious country and be stealing and killing each other. How many of you are looking at the thinking? Can you connect the two? I'm not saying I support what Abeku Santana is saying, but I'm trying to conjecture his thinking. You get up and you fight gays night and day, like I used to do. And since I decided to sit down and get more conscious, I said, no, let me draw these people to me. Saying, let my life be a mirror. Let's see what we can do. My brother, my sister, go to America. They are there in their numbers. Go to England, they are there. South Africa, they are there. We are all running to South Africa. Did you see that report yesterday? That Ghanaians all want to run to South Africa because of that the South African embassy has closed down. No Ghanaian is allowed to enter South Africa right now. Why do you want to go to the land of the gays when you don't want them here? Huh? Why? Hey, my brother, we need to put our house right. Prove to the world that because we don't accept homosexuality, we are better off. Listen, because we do not subscribe to homosexuality, we are better off. But can we say that when we are running to them to come and help us and help run our country? How can they listen to us? Dash it away. Next thing, and I'm closing on this note. It's going to take only 2 minutes. Yes, our country is for sale. Seglemi. When you are going all the way to the Adan area, there, this nice thing is there. It's supposed to provide housing for about 5,000 people. Mahama administration brought it up. Now this government said no. Mahama wasted money and blah blah blah. There was some kind of housing that he could have completed, but he didn't. He went to open this one for political expediency. This guy here is supposed to be the minister of housing and blah blah blah. He was my mate at the UST Kumasi. We were in the same hall. We used to call him Kabila. I know him. I know him. He was my mate at Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology. We both were at Independence Hall and we knew each other. Whilst we were in school, he was a member of the NPP going around doing campaign and all that. I'm not surprised that this has paid off. But watch, government to sell Seglemi housing project to private developer. Government has decided to wash its hands off the Seglemi housing project to allow private developers to refurbish the housing units and sell to potential owners according to the Ministry of Works and Housing. Sector Minister Francis Asenso-Boakye, that's my date, that guy. Yes, revealed this at a Meet the Press session on Sunday, November 13, 2022. Dash it away. Dash. They are going to sell it to their cronies, family and friends. They are good at that. They will sell to their cronies. We know them. Where's Sir John? I'll be shocked if Sir John doesn't even have 100 of these houses in his name. A dirty, stealing, thieving ghost is resting in the hottest part of hell. Satan is playing with his backside. Hey, this place is still for sale. The country, they are selling Ghana. Anas Armiyao Anas has exposed this guy. He's called Charles Edubwahin, the son of the late Albert Edubwahin, the historian who only saw Ashantis as gods. In his history, he wrote that the Ashantis were this every other tribe of. Such a biased guy. He's also resting in hell. At a point, he stood for NPP, whatever. He wanted to be president of this country. Rawlings defeated him. Thank God that guy never became president. They tried to manipulate the history of this country. In Africa, he became one of the first historians to graduate from a certain university in the UK or so. At a point, he even became a dean of faculty. This guy's father, University of Ghana here, he taught for a certain period, and then he went to England and blah, 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 blah. Ghana president sacks junior finance minister over alleged impropriety. Jesus have mercy. And this is Reuters. Accra, November 14. Ghana's President Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo has sacked Charles Edubwahin, the Minister of State for Finance. The presidency said on Monday after allegations of impropriety were circulated by a well-known Ghanaian investigative journalist, Anas Armiyao Anas. The president fired Edubwahin after being made aware of allegations leveled against him in an expose. The presidency statement said, adding that Akufo-Addo had also referred the matter to the special prosecutor for further investigations. Hallelujah. Now, Finance Minister Ken Ofori-Atta is also facing calls for dismissal from members of parliament who accuse him of corruption and economic mismanagement as the country faces its worst economic crisis in generations. Brrr. Dash it away. Yes. And when you watch the documentary, hallelujah. Oh, Jesus. I watched it. In the next edition, I'm going to roll everything down for you to see. I've seen it. Oh, you to see the vice president for the business, you have to bring $200,000, and then you promise the vice president that you would employ his relatives, and at the same time, if you are coming to do business here with about $500 million, you know that I got to get 20% and all. And you watch these people and say, hey, is that a country they are selling in chunks and bits like that? And this idiot called Charles Eduboahin has gone to write that he has something is going around. His attention has been drawn to something going around. That what do we have that going around? And that he's innocent. Somebody tried to entrap him in 28. It could be 20 BC. A crime is a crime. It has no expiry date. Are you not ashamed that you are on tape talking about how to meet with the vice president? That's it. Bawumia himself is so angry. This is the vice president of the Republic of Ghana. And he says he did not ask this guy to do anything. And that by his behavior, he can never be a minister. He should be thrown away. And from the presidency, what do they have there? Bam! The president says, no, sir, I can't have you. And hear me, the president sat with him. They played the thing again. And he probably confessed to the president. The president said, okay, go. And you don't have any shame, you still come and write that your attention has been drawn to what, and they try to entrap you. With what? You guys have no, how's that thing called? You have no heart that beats inside you. Look how many people are dying. The nation is in crisis. And in that documentary, I watched it. He says, oh, he's into some private estate business. And that the man should come and invest in that. Hey, did you go there to talk about the nation? Or you went to talk about your private logoligi? You see? I told you guys, posterity will judge you one after the other. You are greedy. Me, I won't moralize it on anybody. But I doubt it if anybody can put a camera on me and get me do things that I'm not supposed to do. You know why? Because I move with God. What God says, don't do. Maybe the only thing you catch me doing